What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What the f happened?
What just happened? I'm Dan. That's Julia. And today we're talking season 2, episode 9 of Yellowjackets called Storytelling. So, Jules, this could be the finale. It most likely is the finale. But we have to address this real quick. Our friend Faye Fire retweeted Ashley Lyle, who is a co-creator for Yellowjackets. And back on March 18th, she was drunk tweeting about the possibility of there being a bonus episode. So we'll see if that's true. So on March 18th, she tweeted, "Never say never to bonus episodes." And then someone responded, "Best show on television." And she said, "I've had margaritas at a casino. I've said too much." So I don't know. You know, it's possible, right?
I don't know. It feels like she's pulling a Tom Holland here.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I've never seen a show do this before, like have a secret episode that's kind of not a secret. So we'll see if it ends up happening. I don't know. If it doesn't, next week, we are going to be covering Silo. We're going to be picking up on episode 6. So check that out if you like that show, or maybe binge that show so you could watch it with us. And also, we're doing a giveaway once we hit 2,000 subscribers. All you have to do is subscribe, and you could win 3 months of Regal Unlimited, which is fantastic. So I can't wait to give that away. This episode, we'll treat it as it is the finale. All right, because it might be. It opens up poor Travis. That's pretty much, we expected this to happen. You know, he has to deal with his brother being dead and possibly having to eat him because he's starving to death. It's a horrible situation. Wow.
Yeah, that like breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that to my siblings.
Brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. And in the current time, Lottie is continuing her idea of doing this sacrifice with the poison in one of the shots.
It chooses. It won't stop until it gets what it wants.
Oh, no, stop, you can't do this. Stop.
Shauna comes up with the idea of, you know, stalling her, but ultimately giving her a better idea to do the hunt like they always used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of the Yellowjackets jump in, Ty specifically, and after they're done saying that, they're all like, what the hell was that? And they decide it was better to do this than to have someone take this shot of poison right here and now. So,
Yeah.
I guess so. And out of everyone, Natalie is definitely the most pissed off.
Yeah, except we got over it. She thinks it's talking to her again. Have you all forgotten where that leads?
And then in the past, Lottie is updated about the Javi situation by Misty. She's not too happy with what went down. She's kind of reserved this whole episode until the end. We'll get to it, but
Yeah.
kind of surprised by her reaction to this. It's
Yeah,
like
you'd
always...
think she'd be like all for it, but
Yeah, and
I
she's
don't know.
not.
I guess getting the shit beat out of her kind of just like put her mind into at least slightly into perspective. And she's like,
Yeah.
we're just gonna end up eating each other until someone finds us.
But Misty can't let the others find out, so she goes out and tells the other Yellowjackets that she's on board, and they're going to prepare to have a cookout. And it's brutal. You know, Travis realizes what's happening. He says his goodbyes, and Shauna and the gang prepare to cook him up and have a feast. And then Misty, in current time, is in Lottie's room looking for something. I don't know, some kind of evidence. And Walter walks in. So they're reunited, and boy, does it feel good.
So good.
He says he came to help her.
Walter, what are you doing here?
Well, I came to help you.
At this moment, I'm still not totally sold because, you know, he emailed the police, but we think he did it for a reason. We do find out why this episode, but at this point in time, I'm like, okay, what's his angle here? I didn't trust him completely.
I don't know. Like, I get good vibes from Walter. And by good, I mean, like, he has good intentions. Obviously, maybe not the best morals, but...
Van is very adamant. She's totally against this idea of getting Lottie put away to solve their issue of wanting them, one of them having to die. And Van's against this. And she's like,
Protect each other. Didn't we all swear we would?
so her reaction here is just like, remember what we all went through. Remember, we're supposed to be there for each other. We can't just send someone away because they're going through something.
So do you think that Van was so against that because she secretly wanted to do this ritual? I'm wondering if in the back of her mind, she's like, what if this can cure my cancer?
True. If we give it what it wants, it'll solve our issues. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say yes, that she did.
Because
want
like
this.
even
Yeah.
Lottie said, like, she was like staring right at Van and she's like, it could, like, it can solve our issues. Like this
Yeah.
will work.
Yeah, good
So,
call. I think so. Callie and Jeff are driving together. They're discussing options on what to do. You know, he's contemplating just running away. Callie doesn't necessarily like that idea, but he's like, what are we going to do? What can we do in this moment? They're about to pull in, but they are like spooked by the 3 members of the cult walking down. So they decide to find another way in. And we find out that Kevin and Jay are in a car behind them, and then they pull up to the gate. So it's all about to go down. And that was definitely my favorite part of this episode. The whole cop situation with Shauna and Jeff and Callie. Those my most interested I was in that storyline.
Also, side note, I don't know if you had the subtitles on, but
I did.
it really bothered me that Kevin spells his name Kevyn. I don't know why.
Yeah,
like it made me hate him even more.
Yeah. So then Coach Ben comes back to find Javi all cut up, and he's just like, what the hell? Like, I think he's just totally spooked by all the girls at this point. Then Kevin walks in on Walter, and Jules and I were talking about this before we started recording. I watched it back and noticed when he's singing Bring in the Clowns, and that was like from the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. I like that song in this situation. He hears somebody walk in, he gets a little smirk on his face. He's like, oh, it's go time. So you think that he definitely told them to go there in his email?
100%.
Yeah.
I think he had this entire plan, the entirety of this plan that happened through this episode. I think he had that plan from the beginning. I think that's exactly why he emailed them in the first place.
It would make sense. It totally would make sense because he had the poison ready. We find out what happens with that. But, you know, their conversation together is pretty interesting. And like, I'm so locked in whenever Elijah Wood is on screen as Walter. He's just so good at it. He says how he's a detective himself.
You see, I'm a detective too. Not like you. Alas, I'm a lifelong asthmatic. But I am a citizen detective.
And how, you know, it's not just Shauna. She's not the only problem here.
No, she's not the only one. There's practically a coven of them, all up to no good.
And again, in my comments here, because I'm, you know, writing down these notes as I'm watching, I put, what is his angle? I still wasn't completely convinced, but I didn't have to wait long to find out what happened. So Jeff and Callie spot him talking to them, and Jeff tells Callie that he's going to take care of it. You need to go find your mom. I'll take care of it. But again, I had to rewind this part to make sure I heard him correctly. Kevin and Walter were talking about Jessica Roberts. So it's like he was giving them some information because he knew what he was going to do. Jeff walks in, and then Kevin asks for some space, so Walter to leave so they can talk. Jeff just comes to this conclusion that he needs to confess to the murder. It was a crime of passion. He did it because he found out of the affair. He didn't want to tell Shauna about it. And, you know, he was very sincere in this moment, and he's been gaining points with me.
I was going to say,
yeah,
for like the first time, he was actually convincing when he was lying.
Right.
And, you know, like Walter later says, like,
that was a beautiful false confession. I could see it came out of real love.
So I think that's why it was so sincere.
As he's coming up with this fake confession, you know, Kevin, his face looking like he doesn't want to hear it, like he doesn't buy it, and he falls over. He's been poisoned, and it was Walter. He drugged him with
phenobarbital,
and then he asked Jeff for help to move the body, and he's like, "Hey, I know this is a lot. I'm a friend. You can trust me." And it's just like, okay, all right. It all kind of came together.
It was like he was talking to a child to it. It made it so funny. He's like, "Can you grab his legs, buddy? Can you do that?"
So, grab those legs for me. Can you do that? Yeah.
Talking so innocent about moving a body he's dead already in this moment, I guess, right? I think he was already dead. Yeah. And then in the past, Shauna comes in with the cut up Javi portions and the heart's there, and Travis takes a good old bite out of the heart as if to approve the feast. And god damn. Brutal.
It's like bad enough that he's eating Javi, but like he just took a bite out of his like raw heart. And
brutal.
It made me very nauseous.
Yeah, and then they throw some other portions onto the stovetop there and cook it up. So they're gonna not starve to death tonight. And then Van in current time had convinced Ty to call off the backup, whatever you want to call it. They were going to send Lottie to the mental institution, so there was going to be a team there to come take her in, and she calls it off, going with the theme of Van really wanted the hunt to happen. I think you're right. You know,
see, that's another thing that convinced me that I was right about that.
Yeah, I think you are right. So since it was called off, they're free to go on with the hunt. And Lottie comes out and they put all the masks down, they put the knife down, they get the ritual ready, they pull the cards out. Van starts it off. She starts the poll. It actually gets around one rotation, and then they just do it again and again and again until someone picks it, and it happens to be Shauna. And at this moment in time, I'm thinking to myself, could they actually kill Shauna off in this moment? And I thought yes. But then I was like, no, because I remembered back in the past that Natalie was the one who pulled the Queen of Hearts and she survived. So I thought something along the lines of that would happen again. And my first thought was maybe it's Callie. I thought maybe Callie would be the one to die in this scenario.
I feel like it would be a waste for them to kill Shauna right now, since they have this plan to kind of get the cops off their trail.
Mhm.
So that's why I was thinking that it wouldn't happen.
I thought it might be Callie though, because the scene right before this, we saw Callie and Jay interact when Callie had the gun behind her back, and you even said maybe she was going to kill Jay in this scenario. And Walter's plan kicked into full motion here because they call from Kevin's phone. They have some voice recording of Kevin to make it seem like he's talking, and they get Jay on the move to go find where he's at. And just because they like just showed Callie and then there's this drawing scene, I'm like, maybe it's going to be Callie that died. I don't know why. So Shauna pulls the Queen of Hearts. They all put their masks on, and it's time to kill Shauna. It's just like,
And like
so brutal.
her
how fast they all
reaction,
turn. Yeah.
yeah, her reaction was like exactly how I would have reacted to that. She's like, "Are you guys serious? Have you all lost your minds?"
Yeah. Like, is this really going down right now? Yeah, they all just were like totally in on doing it. It was nuts.
Yeah, but
Nuts.
it's just like how it was when they chose Nat in the past.
100%.
Like all of a
Yeah.
sudden, everyone was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah. And Lottie says submit or run. And, you know, Shauna kind of dances around the options for a little while. And then Lottie goes, okay, I guess you're running. And
Are you running? Is that your choice?
Oh, fuck off.
they all chase after her. So they're going to chase Shauna and try to kill her. And they had a really cool thing here with editing when they were transitioning to either the past or they were showing the whole cop situation with now Walters that involved in. And Jay stumbles up to find the ringing phone of Kevin's in the trunk. He opens it up. Here scoops in Walter. He grabs Jay's gun, puts a couple shots into Kevin's body, and then he basically tells him his master plan. He just completely supervillain mind here.
It was
when
brilliant.
he's like, yeah, try yes and here. Work with me.
I laughed at that one.
Yeah. But he put a whole scheme together that it was Kevin who murdered Adam Martin. He murdered Jessica Roberts.
Yeah.
He has bank statements to prove it.
It's easy to see why Kevin here would stop at nothing to prevent this from coming out.
He's like, I got this all figured out. You can choose to, you know, run, or you can be a hero here.
You'll be a real hero to the community.
So I think Jay was just, you know, for the first time, he met his match. So Jay didn't know how to
Yeah.
react. You
I
know,
mean, those aren't great options, you know?
No.
It's either
yeah.
you killed your partner, but you're a hero, or you're the one getting framed for this.
Unless you'd rather all those bank and phone records pointed to you.
Yeah.
You killed your partner because you found out. Like,
Yeah.
I would have gone with the first option too.
So we'll see what they do with him in season 3. You know, obviously he'll still be part of the story. I doubt he'll just give up. He'll probably just find a better way to do things and not be so abrasive and so cocky, basically, because he has been this whole time. So
Yeah, I'm like not thrilled about him being in the next season, but
Yeah.
maybe something bad will happen to him and I'll be fine.
would you have rather they killed him instead of Kevin?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I think that would have been more satisfying. I felt bad for Kevin dying. He never really did anything
A
wrong.
little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
he was kind of a doucher, but less
Yeah.
so than Syracuse.
So interesting moment here when Callie runs in and saves her mom. She shoots
Yeah.
Lottie in the shoulder, and when Lottie's on the ground, she calls Callie powerful.
She's so powerful.
So I'm like
Yeah.
really curious what's going to happen with that storyline there. Does Callie have some sort of essence about her that Lottie thinks she has a connection with the wilderness? It was
Yeah.
really interesting line
Like
there.
I didn't see that coming at all, but the way Lottie reacted, I definitely think that she's gonna see Callie as like the new queen bee, so to speak.
Yeah, I think so too. We see Lottie's reaction to everything at the end of the episode too, and she seems to be in a better place, but still has a lot to work through. But in the past, we see how Lottie never really wanted to be a leader.
I never wanted to be in charge.
She said, it chose me because I was the only one who could really listen, but it doesn't need me anymore. And she thinks that the wilderness did indeed choose who to sacrifice to feed them in Javi. And she thinks that the wilderness also has already chosen the successor to Lottie to be the leader. And it's Nat, because she was chosen to die in the hunt. And through miraculous scenario, basically, she survives and doesn't have to be killed. So she thinks that this is the wilderness saying that, hey, Nat should be the leader here. They choose Natalie to be the new leader. Everybody goes and bows and gives their blessing to the scenario, even Shauna. So there you have it. So Lottie in current time is going off about it and how it's been in us. And she names specific examples for everyone's current life and something specific that they've gone through. And she doesn't have a chance to continue because Lisa pulls up with a shotgun.
What did you do to her?
I told you to leave.
What is she talking about? You killed people? Tell me!
And Lisa wants some answers.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Tell me what's going on. And, earlier Natalie warned her to not even be here. She told her to go home. So she wasn't happy with just quietly sitting by, and she wants answers.
Yeah.
So,
Now, do you think that if Nat hadn't warned her, that would have happened?
no, I don't think so. I think the only reason why she was so concerned is the way Natalie was talking to her prior. But, now she's got a gun to Natalie and she really wants answers. They don't give us that answer right away. But one thing I forgot to mention, when they were all bowing to Natalie, we see Ben outside. He grabs matches and a rope and it's like, what is he up to? So
My first thought is, okay, he couldn't get the fire started, so he came back to snacks and supplies.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
pretty innocent, but he also seemed very off-put about the whole them bowing to Natalie thing.
Yeah, I mean, earlier again, we saw him in his little cave trying to start a fire. So I thought, like you said, like it's just innocent. He just needs matches to start a fire and he can go be in his comfort zone away from all the craziness. But something shifts in his mind because I think he's definitely responsible for what happens later.
Oh,
But
100%.
yeah. But then again, they switch back and forth a lot in the last 5-10 minutes, especially. They go right back and show Lisa demanding answers, and they show everyone kind of fidgeting. Natalie puts her weapon down, but Misty has a syringe with
Phenobarbital.
and she runs up, tries to stab Lisa with it, but she ends up hitting Nat. And wow, I didn't see this coming at all. At all. That was a big shock.
See,
So-
I didn't see it before this episode. Before it happened, when Lisa showed up with the gun, I kind of had a feeling because it's like Nat was so regretful about letting Javi die in her place. You know what I mean? So she wasn't going to let that happen again.
Yeah, you're right. And they showed some flashes. She was having a vision, and she's talking to her younger self, younger Lottie. But
I thought it was
to
really
her-
cool how they did that.
Yeah, it was cool. And to her younger self, we're not supposed to be here. Her younger self says, "This is exactly where we belong," and she dies. She is dead. So she's gone. And I got to credit Juliette Lewis. She did a great job in this
Oh,
role as
fabulous.
Natalie. And it's sad, maybe she'll still have some scenes going forward. They're
Like I
having
imagine
visions or
young Nat
something.
will, but
She will, yeah.
I really hope that present time Nat is still in it somehow because she was
Somehow.
great.
Yeah, someone will have some type of vision or something will happen and maybe she'll get a couple more scenes. But it sucks that she's gone. And it's not who I would have picked. If I had to kill one of them, it wouldn't have been her. So that
Who would it
sucks.
have been?
I don't know. That's a very hard question.
It's a hard pick, right?
Yeah. I really can't. I guess Lottie. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
but
like
I feel
everyone
like
else
that
too
would have
much.
just ended the story.
Yeah,
right?
you can't kill Lottie. You're right.
Because
I don't know.
Lottie would be gone, the cops are dealt with, then what?
Yeah.
Like what is left?
I guess it had to be Natalie. And, Walter shows up and tells Misty that he took care of the Adam Martin situation, but she's just so sad. She says, "I killed my best friend." And same type of situation happens with Jeff and Shauna. Jeff says that's a long story, but it's going to be okay. And then she tells him about Natalie, and everybody's just kind of mourning Natalie's death.
Yeah.
And then Ty tells Lottie that she's going to go away for a while, but they're going to check in on her. And Lottie's just at peace. We gave it what it wanted. it's pleased with us. You'll see. And we'll see if that comes to be true. And we'll see if Van's cancer is cured and all their problems start to just go away for the time being because they made it happy. So Lottie seems to think so. Yeah, I can't either.
I think they're gonna think that because like the whole, Adam Martin thing being taken care of, they're gonna be like, oh my God, it worked.
Yeah.
And then something terrible is gonna happen.
One thing that they did do in this finale, quote unquote finale, is they did like kind of give a close to a lot of the storylines that were going on, and they're gonna have to start new stuff up for season 3. So they kind of did wrap things up, but it's just still a bummer when seasons end to a show that you're really into. So it sucks. So what do you guys think is going to happen with the sacrifice that was made and Natalie's death? Do you think that their problems start to get solved in this situation like Lottie seems to think? Or do you think it's not going to make any difference at all? And in one of the closing shots, I thought it was interesting. We saw Shauna journaling, that journal makes it out with her. So it's pretty cool to see her doing it. But while she's writing, she sees a fire started. Definitely by Coach Ben, right? Definitely.
100%. He
tried to take them all out.
Has to be. He was like, listen, these girls are freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be on the dinner menu next. So I'm just going to take them out while they're all sleeping, which I mean, not a terrible plan. And like, he'd have quite a bit of food to last him the winter.
Oh, yeah. He'd be all right for a minute. I didn't think he had that type of thing in him to do that.
Me either.
And this is really the only chance he could do that because he's on one leg. He can't really overpower them. So he's going to have to try a sneak attack. So yeah, he locked all the doors. He barred all the windows and he thought he could take them all out, but they managed to escape. They see the cabin just collapse into itself basically. And it's just up in flames and it's done. So they don't have the cabin anymore. So I think the cave type of deal is going to be a much bigger location for season 3 and moving forward, because where else are they going to be? They can't just sit outside.
Yeah, I know. And that does not bode well for Coach Ben.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, he's probably first up to die next season, but hey, I would have said that he wouldn't have made it out of this season, and I was wrong.
I didn't think he was gonna.
So we'll see.
But like, especially if they find out that he's the one who set the fire.
Oh my God,
he's done for.
Which they're probably gonna have some type of feelings about, because they were literally like barred in there, and the door was like jammed shut, so they couldn't get out. So I think they're gonna put it together that he had something to do with it. But will they find him because he's at this secret location and he has shelter and they don't? So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, but Natalie knows that he has this secret location. She just doesn't know where.
Doesn't know where. Yeah, and then they probably just look at the map and figure it out. Yeah. I don't know, man. Crazy shit. But, if we don't have a bonus episode, this is it. This is the finale for season 2. So were you guys satisfied? To be totally frank, I didn't love this episode. It wasn't my favorite of the season, but I enjoyed it enough. It's not like I was let down. It's just I expected a little more. I
would have to agree with that. And I think it's just because like part of me just doesn't want it to be over. But it didn't. Yeah. It also didn't feel like a finale episode per se. So I'm kind of hoping we do get that bonus episode.
I hope so. That'd be great. So if they do give us a bonus, we will be here to cover it. But if not, we'll be covering Silo next week. I think it's a really interesting show. It has tons of potential. There's a lot of theories to it. So I think you guys will like it. So this is what our slate's looking like coming up. We're going to do Silo next week. Then on June 9th, we're going to start covering The Crowded Room, Apple TV show with Tom Holland and Amanda Seyfried. Looks really good. Hopefully I'm
good. Really excited for that.
Yeah, that's a murder mystery taking place in 1979 New York. Hopefully that's good. I think it'll be awesome. And then the one I'm looking forward to the most is the Afterparty season 2 that starts July 12th. So that's the next couple shows we're covering. If there's any show that you'd like us to cover, just leave it in the comments. Remember, subscribe. Once we get to 2,000, we're giving that 3 months of Regal Unlimited away. And hopefully it's soon so we can give it away for the summer season. You can go see all the summer blockbusters for free. This has been a lot of fun. This might be it for Yellowjackets season 2. If not, we'll see you next week. But if it is, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.